Pensacola, Florida lies beside the pristine waters of the Gulf of Mexico, but beaches aren't the only attraction.
You got room, run hard, they're gonna race side by side.
Pensacola is also home to fast planes and fast cars, the world-famous Blue Angels and Five Flags Speedway. Planes roar through the sky, cars tear up the track. Don't blink, you might miss some supersonic Hooters Pro Cup action. United Speed Alliance Racing 2001. The Hooters Pro Cup Odyssey continues with round 3 here at Five Flags Speedway in Pensacola, Florida, the Lucas Oil 250, presented by Food World. Hello and welcome everyone to our debut appearance at this racetrack. I'm Brian Drever. Along with me in the booth is Gene Crane, and downstairs for us all night long will be Daytona 200 winner David Sadowski.
Great crowd on hand here tonight at Five Flags Speedway as we get set to go with this first ever event for the USAR Pro Cup Series. It's a tough racetrack, and Dave Sadowski's got more of that right now.
Well, I know this looks funny. A cheese grater and an egg in turn 4 at Five Flags Speedway in Pensacola, Florida. You're asking me, what does a cheese grater and an egg have to do with racing a stock car here? Well, the drivers tell me that this racetrack is so abrasive, as you go into the 19 range, 19-second laps, you start grading away on your tires. And you have to slow down to get the heat out of the tires, get up into the 21 range. The pace varies throughout the race. As you try to conserve your tires, get fresh ones on at the end, you've got to really watch how much pressure you put on the egg and not spin the tires and start grading more of them off. As the race gets down to a close, the guys will go to their freshest tires, more and more pressure gets put on the egg, and you got to race towards the finish and grade away. Guys, this racetrack is all about tire management. We'll have to watch what happens. You get out here on the high line, and you're into the wall.
Gene Ski's cooking cheese omelets. I'll take mine over easy, Dave. Thanks very much. Let's take a look at the top 10 in points. And for the last couple of years, it has been Bobby Gill and Stephen Christian. They're there again. Only one rookie in the top 10, and that's Jason Sarvis. What a difference a year makes.
Indeed. Usual suspects in the second portion of the top 10. Mike Laughlin Jr., Mario Goslin, Derek Kelly, Lee Tissett, and Martin Nesbitt having a good run early in the season.
So a lot of veteran drivers are up there, and a lot of veteran drivers like Hal Goodson looking for a good year here in 2001. So before we get this race started, let's go downstairs once again to ski with the Lance Snacks Pole Award winner.
Well, guys, the thing that is noteworthy down here on the grid is that Bobby Gill is qualified outside of row 2. He's normally a mid-pack qualifier, but something that is not uncharacteristic is the Carter Grandel number 10 car of Mario Goslin. He'll start outside pole. He was our pole qualifier at Lakeland, Florida. But the big news here and on pole for our Lance Snacks Pole Award is Shane Huffman in the 84 Johnsonville Prot car. An excellent 18.4, 97 mile an hour average.
Well, I'll tell you what, Ronnie White and everybody on this Brock Bunch crew, they done a heck of a job, and really surprised me. You know, it's hard to tell how good you are in practice here. The tires go away so fast, but just want to thank all the guys on the car, Johnsonville Brocks, Computer Wise, and everybody involved.
And Shane Huffman, our Lance Snacks Pole Award winner. And Gene, a very big race coming up and a lot to talk about. The USAR Hooters Pro Cup Series is brought to you by Hooters Restaurants. Hooters, delightfully tacky, yet unrefined. By Naturally Fresh Dressing. It's not just our name, it's our promise. By Jackaroo Sauces. Jackaroo tastes so great they named a steakhouse after us. By Miller Lite, the great taste of a true Pilsner beer. And by Lucas Oil Products, the official lubricant of USAR.
On behalf of Food World and the wonderful people at Johnsonville, gentlemen, start your engines!
Ah, the sound we all love to hear is Shane Huffman, our pole sitter, and the rest of the field. There's John Curley from Catawba Valley Community College. They all fire him up and get ready to go on a beautiful evening for racing here in Pensacola. Our Renegade Race Trailers weatherman, Gene Crane.
Beautiful weather, great crowd here at Pensacola. Temperature's about 68 degrees. It's going to drop just a little bit. Beautiful weather for racing. A lot of traction is going to be found out there, but as Ski said, a lot of filing of tires as well.
Well, Gene, a lot of drivers have seen this track before, but it's the first time they'll be looking at it through the windshield of a Hooters Pro Cup car.
Indeed. This track has got long sweeping corners, but short straightaways. It's going to make the drivers work all night long.
A couple of guys having problems before the race even starts. Let's go down to David Sadowski again.
Couple cars having trouble during the warm-up here, 4 laps around the rest of the field, but Scott York in the Amsoil Synthetic Lubricants Chevrolet will not make the start of this one. They're trying to hold it up as best they can. They're doing 2 extra warm-up laps. Another car, the number 11 Jason Sarvis, is going to miss the start here. He was in for the pits, but he's back out again, but both cars are not running properly. Could be that they're topped up too much on fuel, Brian, and a vapor lock issue here. We'll have to keep a close eye on it.
Ski taking a guess. Gene, we know that Sarvis had problems in practice.
They blew an engine during qualifying, and they just barely got the motor in the car in time for the start of the race. They're benefiting from 2 extra laps because of an exhaust system that fell off of a car up in turn 3.
Our Jack Roussos' starting grid. You met the pole sitter Shane Huffman alongside Mario Gosselin in the number 10 car there. On row number 2, the only Northern driver in the series, Brian Vickers in the 42 car, and Bobby Gill in the PG Industries sponsor needed number 5.
Hal Goodson is going to start on the inside of row number 3. He's out of Winston-Salem, North Carolina in the Taylor Motorsports Chevrolet, and alongside him, the Jack Roussos' Chevrolet of number 22, Del Murphy. Row number 4 on the inside, Jeremy Bowser out of Pinellas Park, Florida in the Burke Chassis Ford, and alongside him, Stacy Purrier in that Black Tire Service RBR Enterprises Chevrolet.
Row 5 starts with Martin Nesbitt in the Blue Cross Blue Shield of Florida entry, Shane Sieg in the S&W Motorsports number 139. And then it's row number 6 with Steve Christian in the Lucas Oil Products car, and Jay Fogelman, winner of the last race in the Cooper Family Ford.
Hickory, North Carolina's John Curley starts the 44 on the inside of row 7. That is the 13th starting position in the CBC C Ford. And Derek Kelly out of Auburndale, the Discount Auto Parts Chevrolet number 21, starting 14th. Local driver Jeremy Pate from here in Pensacola starts 15th in his number 62. And Tom Pistone brings the Bully Hill Vineyards Ford from the 16th starting spot.
The 00 of Curtis Davis, the TwisterCarts.com entry, is on row number 9 with Lee Tissett in the Cars Plus number 55. We go back to row number 10 where we see Daniel Johnson, a rookie driver in the Happy Hunting Ground Whitetail Research Chevy, alongside Mike Laughlin Jr. in the Carolina Kit Car number 7.
Moving back to row 11, Toby Robertson has the TWR Motorsports Chevrolet 21st. John Kender starts alongside him in the Multimedia Graphic Production Chevrolet. Row 12, Jabe Jones out of Toccoa, Georgia in his Chevy on the inside, and alongside him, Chad Mullis out of Charlotte, North Carolina in his Ford number 9.
It's all North Carolina drivers for the next couple of rows. On row number 13, Chris Gordon in the New Star Environmental Ford. Kevin Sasser out of Gibsonville in the Sasser Motorsports Chevrolet. They make up row 13. Another row back, it's Jason Sarvis, the rookie who is in the top 10 in the Naturally Fresh Foods Chevrolet. And then R.D. Smith out of Burlington in the Hot Rod Magazine Pontiac.
Moving to row number 15 on the inside of North Barrington, Illinois, the Serta Mattress Company Ford of Brent Sherman, and Joe Harrison Jr. in the 57 out of West Virginia joins him on the outside. Row 16, Ronnie Davidson back on the series. He's out of Lenore, North Carolina in the number 6, and Danny Sammons in the Lonesome Dodge in the field. He starts the 39 car in 32nd.
Don Satterfield in the Hawk Sawblade Chevrolet goes from the 33rd start position alongside Calvin Redwine in the Calvine Auto Sales Joe's Body Shop Chevy. And then we mentioned Scott York did qualify, but he will not make the start here tonight. That's our Jack Roussos' starting grid. Now we're going to give you a look at the in-car cameras that you will be seeing here tonight. And they will begin with Jason Sarvis, who did make it out there, so that's good. He made it out there under his own power. He will take the green flag here tonight, and he'll be carrying an onboard camera in the Naturally Fresh Foods car, starting in 27th position. Jay Fogelman won the race a couple of weeks ago in St. Augustine in the Cooper Family Ford, starts 12th. This is the view you'll get from Jay Fogelman's cockpit. And then Stephen Christian in the Lucas Oil Products entry, starting in 11th position. We'll also be looking through the windshield with the man who finished runner-up in points for the last 2 seasons and currently is second. And the pole sitter Shane Huffman, you won't see much out of his windshield once the pace car disappears from the view of the Johnsonville Bratwurst entry, our pole sitter. And we mentioned what a difference a year makes for Shane Huffman. It was a potential unrealized a season ago. He's making it work this year. Down on the infield there, Scott York's entry will not roll, but the rest of them will as the green flag waves. James Theriot is the son of the national sales manager for Lucas Oil Products. He gets the honors of waving the green hanky on a stick, and Shane Huffman takes the early lead.
run for Shane Huffman in qualifying earlier in the day. I came by the PR guy of Shane Huffman, stopped and talked to Patrick Rogers for just a moment. He said Shane was very upset in practice. He didn't think the car was really going to get in the show as strong as it did. He surprised everybody in qualifying.
Well, I guess the moral of that story is they should find something to annoy him every week. He goes out and puts the car, the Johnsonville Bratwurst entry, on the pole, and look, he's stretched out 2 or 3 car length lead. I would say things are going just fine for an angry driver.
He's starting to annoy the rest of the field here in the early going.
I'll take it every time as Mario Gosselin goes hard in the number 10 Carter Grandel entry to try to close the gap, and things are starting to roll a little bit now. But Jason Sarvis, problems, took a little bit of time off there, got him in the field, but now they have reoccurred. And actually, Fresh Foods number 11 is headed down pit road, and this early, that's not good.
Ryan, this is really going to hurt. They've got 2 top 10s so far in the 2001 season. They're going to need to get this car repaired to try to stay in the battle.
Rookie points leader Jason Sarvis with his helmet off. David Sadowski's down there interviewing, barely worked up a sweat.
Jason, what happened to you?
We blew a motor in qualifying. It's unfortunate for National Crash and Shook Racing. We had a really good car today, really consistent, really good on tires, just unfortunate to have motor problems.
Well, you hate that, I guess, as a driver, as any athlete with a piece of equipment that lets you down. Jason Sarvis with a good run going. We mentioned rookie points leader, the only rookie in the top 10. And another one of those things that I said, what a difference a year makes. Heck, last year, the 2000 season, we had a handful of rookies in the top 10 all year long.
You're right. And looking back at the rookie battle so far this year, only 24 points between Jason Sarvis and Chad Mullis. So Mullis has an opportunity to close in and possibly take over the lead in that Miller Lite Rookie of the Year battle.
Problems for the 18 car, Brent Sherman's Serta Mattress Company car slowing down. So while Jason Sarvis was the first victim of some sort of mechanical ills, it appears as though the 18 car and Brent Sherman out of Barrington, Illinois, going to have a problem too.
Report of some contact with the right side of the car in one of the walls. In fact, just before the flag stand, we saw just a little bit of a glimpse of that tire mark on the wall.
Al Goodson in the number 45 Carlin Financial car. We mentioned probably the best half a season any driver in stock car history ever had last year here in the Hooters Pro Cup. This year he's been struggling a little bit, hasn't really been able to put it together. We figured he'd be fast right out of the box, but instead the guys with that car are having some problems. Bobby Gill qualifying, as Ski said, uncharacteristically well. So he's just got a little bit of a head start on trying to get to the front here.
Everybody's been keying on Bobby Gill as we look towards Five Flag Speedway in this 3rd race of the season. Most of the drivers were trying to get an idea of how to set their cars up, what to expect when they got here. Bobby Gill has 5 major wins of this speedway, 2 of them in the storied Snowball Derby.
That's right. 2 wins for Bobby Gill in the Snowball Derby here at Five Flags, and that's some guys go a whole career trying to make that happen. Shane Huffman leads it over Mario Gosselin. Gill has slipped out of the top 5, Bowser in. The Lucas Oil 250 here at Five Flags is pretty much as it was when we left you, and Shane Huffman in the Johnsonville Bratwurst shopping cart is trying to get to the Food World checkout counter here.
Last night they were over at the New Food World, which is just down the street from Five Flag Speedway. They debuted a brand new show car, but this show car is a little bit unique. It's got a slide-out grill where the fuel cell would be. The whole TV panel comes back and slides out, and they were cooking brats for everybody last night.
Close quarters racing, and some of it provided because Danny Salmon's number 39 car, the French trailer repair entry, going slowly down on the bottom of the racetrack. Not sure what's going on there, but everybody else is having to move around him right now. Kind of a rolling pick being set by the 39 car.
Danny Salmon's
checking out, sorry.
Danny Salmons did get into the wall during practice. The only car that really got in trouble all afternoon long. They had to repair the front of the car. Some body damage there, a little bit of radiator damage, but really nothing significant to really hurt the handling characteristics.
Lee Tisson and Mike Laughlin Jr. going after it there. These 2 guys
caution.
started.
We've got a caution.
And we've got a problem on the racetrack right now. You don't see it just yet, but you will in a moment. As Shane Huffman checks up, we've got some debris out there on the racetrack, and the USAR officials say we're going to clean it up.
Ronnie White, crew chief on the 84. How's the car?
Right now we're pretty good. I keep telling him to take it easy, and he says he is. So I guess the Johnsonville car's running real good right now, but we still got a long way to go.
Long way to go indeed. First caution of the race, and we'll be right back.
Welcome back to the Lucas Oil 250
at Five Flags Speedway in Pensacola, Florida.
And there's your show car, Gene Crane, with the brats on the grill. We're having a brat fry here, and Shane Huffman certainly is, as he has stepped out from his pole sitter position to lead this one from the beginning. Our next race will come to you from Ace Speedway in Altamaha, North Carolina. That's on Friday, April 13th. Join us at the racetrack, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. The green flag will fly.
Looks like the squirrel's gotten a little bit loose there.
Yeah, Ronnie Davidson C&T Classic car. Let's go down to David Sadowski, though. We mentioned tire wear. He's got more on the subject.
Brian and Gene talked with Shane Huffman before the beginning of this race. He says the first 5 laps, the tires will drop off where you've got to reduce your lap times by 1 second. And then by the time you get to lap 20, you've got to take 2.5 seconds off your lap time to make sure the tires just don't completely disintegrate. This early caution here right now, it's a blessing for the tires. It'll give these guys a few more laps after the midway point.
Shane Huffman getting ready to take them back to the green flag racing here. And on the restart, he's being challenged right away by Mario Gosselin up on the high line. Gosselin, who is second, of course, Brian Vickers in his number 42 car, the Stewart Components entry that'll be racing for points up north, is sitting third.
Mario Gosselin's needing a good run. He's sitting back in that second portion of the top 10 in points. He wants to try to get up front. He needs to get a win. Bobby Gill is closing in on his all-time win record here in the Hooters Pro Cup Series.
Very close points battle among the drivers who are back there in the last half of the top 5 and the first part of the top 10 in points. And we're talking about Shane Huffman, Jason Sarvis, Mike Laughlin, Mario Gosselin, and Derek Kelly, Lee Tissett even. So the points early in the season, very close indeed. So is the racing out there on the track. You can see Vickers falling into the clutches of Hal Goodson. Colin England, the guys hoping for another good run here with their driver, Hal Goodson. The site of the famous Snowball Derby, Five Flags Speedway at Pensacola. I was down here for the Snowball. Watched Gary St. Amant win his second one. On board now with the Lucas Oil Products entry of Stephen Christian.
And Brian, this is the Ford. They practiced the Chevrolet all day long. At the end of practice, just in the final laps, the engine went south in the Chevrolet. They went over, pulled the Ford off the truck, got 3 laps of practice, and Stephen Christian put the car in the field in 11th position.
It might be good night for the driver of the 39 car. The Fred's Trailer Repair entry of Danny Sammons down on pit road could be terminal. While we watch some very close quarter action here, side-by-side racing, the 18 car of Brent Sherman we saw having problems a while ago. Looks like he's having some racing going on right now.
We mentioned during the last broadcast about Brent Sherman. He's a road racer. He actually competed in the 2001 24 Hours of Daytona. So he's getting a little bit of experience down there on the flat. That road racing experience may come into play.
Bobby Gill making a move on Hal Goodson for position here, and it will be good for 4th place. Vickers has checked out from this battle a little bit in 3rd, but now Gill takes over the spot from Hal Goodson and the number 5 PGT car. Del Murphy's Jackaroo Meat Sauce is number 22 down on pit road under green, and that is not good either for one of the top rookie contenders of the season.
Short as this track is and as quick, even though the tires are giving up a little bit, if you will, because of the rough surface here at Five Flags Speedway, they're still turning the track very quickly. Anytime you come down pit road in this event, you're going to be in trouble. Mario Gosselin, Stephen Christian in the 16 car. Got so used to seeing that car last year.
Me too, the 16 with Gosselin, and now it's with Stephen Christian. He makes a very sanitary pass there on Brian Vickers, who looked like he just moved over and let him go. This early in the race, you would expect that kind of courtesy from the drivers to one another. And our top 10 leaderboard looking a little bit different. Bobby Gill is up there once again. Bowser has slipped out of the top 10. Stacy Puryear is there. And Jay Fogelman rounds it out. Pensacola, Florida, and Five Flags Speedway for the Lucas Oil 250 presented by Food World. We've got a good one going on here as we take a look at our field summary here. Shane Huffman, the leader. Bobby Gill has moved up to 2nd, taking the spot from Mario Gosselin. Stephen Christian, there's Jeremy Bowser, and Jay Fogelman still rounding out the top 10. We're watching the number 21 car of Derek Kelly. Derek, of course, one of the favorites here, as he is at any track in Florida. Has a lot of fans in the stands as always.
Watching Brian Vickers backslide through the field. He's got Shane Sieg right in on his rear bumper. Shane had a good qualifying effort, actually qualifying in the top 10 this afternoon.
Jay Fogelman now up to 9th position, and you're riding on board in the Cooper family entry.
Trying to work his way around Lee Tissett, and just behind them looked like Brent Sherman getting a little crossed up off of 4.
9 car there. Chad Mullis, the Mullis Drilling Service entry, also taking a look at him real quick. Here's the 44. The 55 of Lee Tissett. Double digits out there all over the racetrack as that Chad Mullis Ford, Mullis Drilling Service Ford, is working on Lee Tissett, who went to victory lane last year in the 2000 season.
And here comes your 44.
There it is. Yes. Catawba Valley Community College, brand new crew this year for John Curley, who is one of the instructors there in their program that teaches some of these youngsters how to be crew persons. And we have to say that because there have been a number of females working with the crew there for potential duties in stock car racing all over the sport. So there is John Curley with a nice aggressive move up to the back bumper of Chad Mullis's car. Rookie driver Chad Mullis sitting second in rookie points right now.
We're already starting to see the rear ends of these cars. The right rear is a critical tire on the setup for these guys. In fact, talking to Bobby Gill earlier, he said the right rear is the key to the entire program, and some of the cars starting to lose a little grip, a little bit of wiggle, not only out of the Curley car, but Chad Mullis, rather, was drifting up the racetrack just a little bit.
Well, don't say that too loudly, because Shane Huffman might argue with you. He's got everything dialed in here, except for the fact that Bobby Gill is gaining on him. Shane Huffman has led every lap of the race from his pole position. Now he's getting into some traffic there. He comes up behind Brent Sherman, Serta Mattress Company number 18, and disposes of him rather easily. Sherman is off the pace. There's Hal Goodson and the 16 once again of Stephen Christian. Lucas Oil Products entry. And the 18 car is headed down pit road as Bobby Gill is close right up to the bumper of Huffman now, and this becomes a battle for the lead. Huffman being challenged really for the first time in the race. Gill goes around the outside, but finds a slower car there to block his progress. Toby Robertson's TWR Motorsports Chevy is going to have to be dealt with, but Gill gets around first. He finds some room and takes the lead. A first lead change here, and that looked awful easy.
He used Toby Robertson as a pick, and Bobby Gill, he must have that car set right. When I walked by the car earlier this afternoon, just before qualifying, Bobby himself was down there adjusting the weight, trying to get the car balanced. Balance is the key. You don't want to put too much pressure on any corner of the race car. This track is very, very abrasive. If you're too heavy on one corner, you're going to wear a tire out.
Christian in front of Goodson now, and their little mini battle going on a little deeper in the field. And you mentioned that all of the drivers are keying off of Bobby Gill. Well, I said to Bobby about midway through last season when he was on that streak of victories, Bobby, you've done all these guys such a great favor. You've shown them just how good they have to be. I think that adage still applies.
It really does apply. Bobby Gill has been able to become a 10-10 driver, and it's made everybody else's program step up.
He sets the standard by which all others must be judged. Jay Fogelman and his number 8 car there, the Cooper family Ford, had some thoughts about tire strategy before the start of the race. We talked to him about just what tire management here at Five Flags means. Here's Jay.
We're not going all with rights, but we're going to do something a little different. If everything goes as planned, we're going to actually flip-flop the lefts the first stop, put rights on, and then save 4 tires for later in the race. And it may come back to bite us, or we may win the race with it. We just want to come out of here, get us some points, have a car in one piece ready to go to Ace in 2 weeks here.
Well, track position and tires. Tires, 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 tires. That was the conversation throughout the pit area this morning. And in fact, an extra pair of tires being allotted to each team. Normally in Pro Cup racing, you have the 4 on the car and 4 in the pits, a total of 8 to run the entire 250. Tonight, they've got 6 spare tires in the pit area.
Our Goodyear full field rundown on lap number 50. Hal Goodson starts the second 5 there. We've seen him battling with Stephen Christian. Christian's ahead of him. Curtis Davis in the 00 car starting to move through the field and doing it quite nicely, we might add. We may get to him a little bit more later on in this race and show you what smooth driving he's doing there. R.D. Smith in the number 179 car, the Hot Rod Magazine entry. Tom Pistone, of course, grandson of the famous Tiger Tom, and Don Satterfield moving up through the field a little bit. You can see that some attrition has taken its toll. Began with Scott York, who never even made the start. Jason Zarvis was out early as well, and now the most recent victim, the 18 car of Brent Sherman. There's Bobby Gill, the standard, as we mentioned, and the leader in this race right now.
Starting to get into lap traffic. We've got a bunch of laps on the board now. Now the tires and your setup is going to become a very critical issue. You're going to find out if you guessed right when we went to qualifying earlier today. Here's the 62 of Jeremy Pate down pit road. He's a local competitor who should know his way around this speedway. Looks like he's got problems.
The Coastal Construction Chevrolet going slow, and now the guys go to the right side of the car to jack it up. This is more than a routine pit stop for them for sure, because it's under the green flag. David Sadowski's hustled on down there, Ski.
Jeremy Pate coming in for service here. Looks like the front right brake caliper is still smoking hot. Hydraulic fluid everywhere. The guys go for right side tires. Pate, your local favorite, in and out.
Well, everybody else continues without further incident behind the man who, as we said, sets the standard here at Hooters Pro Cup, the defending champion, Bobby Gill. United Speed Alliance racing in the Hooters Pro Cup Series here at Five Flags. It's the Lucas Oil Products 250 presented by Food World, round 3 for the 2001 Odyssey. And Bobby Gill is your race leader. Shane Huffman, pole sitter, and early leader is stalking him now as they both go down inside on Toby Robertson's number 23. Mike Laughlin Jr. moving up 10 spots to where he is right now. Brian Vickers having some problems, and he started third. He's sliding back through the field. You mentioned that. I wonder why.
Don't know exactly what's going on. We watched Brian Vickers win one of these slip sliding races over at Peach State Speedway last year, one of his 2 rookie wins during the season last year, but they've definitely missed the setup here this evening.
Well, missed the race setup. Clearly they had a better car for qualifying than they do for a long run. Pit stops, you know, obviously they'll make some changes and perhaps improve once again. But right now, Brian Vickers is fighting a pretty ill-handling car and losing a tenth of a second, a couple of tenths of a second every lap, and a spot or two every now and then.
Rookie Shane C. got to Tucker, Georgia, trying to take a look at Vickers. And Brian Vickers, he's going to be turning left and right all night long. He's going to have rubber arms by the time this race is over.
We mentioned Brian Vickers, the only Northern Series driver in the event here tonight. There have been a few Northern Series drivers competing, and they will continue to do so. Let's go back downstairs. David Sadowski with the crew chief on the 84 car.
Back with Ronnie White, Shane Huffman car. Are the tires shot? What are you doing on the first stop?
Yeah, they're going away real fast. We're going to kind of shoot from the hip here and see what we're going to do here when we put tires on. I know some guys will put 4 on, some guys will do 2, some might even do 3. I don't know. We'll see.
A little bit non-committal about his strategy there. Now, Jay Fogelman talked about what he might do or would do, and I've got some experience with that flip-flop lefts, change rights strategy. 3-time ASA champion Butch Miller did that to good effect, and I was in the pits with Mike Miller when he did it. It essentially gives you extra tires, but it takes more time to change 4 than 2.
Exactly. The left front doesn't get near as much wear. Moving back to the left rear, get a little life out of it. Was noticing just before we went to that segment, several cars starting to skate around Del Murphy in that Jack Rusasa Chevrolet. He's got a problem right now. He's hoping for a caution to try to get to pit road, as is Brian Vickers, and I'm sure there's several more on the speedway we'll keep an eye on.
Stacy Puryear running in 3rd position right now. He came up from 8th starting position. And one thing that I've noticed here, Gene, see if you agree with me, is that Bobby Gill took the lead from Shane Huffman. Stacy Puryear got up there, but the 3 of them are just running just about dead even right now. They're all holding their spots, running dead equal lap times. No real changes going on. Is this tire management?
Has to be. They've got a longer green flag run than anybody ever imagined. We really foretold or thought throughout the pit area there were going to be a lot of early cautions. We haven't seen that.
Well, we're 80 laps into the Lucas Oil 250, and we've only seen 1 yellow flag waving. Our naturally fresh top 10 leaderboard includes these handsome gentlemen. We're back at Pensacola, and the cars are tearing up the racetrack here. The Blue Angels have the night off, but these guys don't. Bobby Gill is your leader as we take a look at our USAR leaderboard over Shane Huffman. Jay Fogelman in 6th position, Curtis Davis 7th. Gosselin has slid back into 8th. You're on board with Stephen Christian running 4th right now in the Lucas Oil Products entry. And he had some thoughts about how to drive around Five Flags Speedway. Stephen says if you don't use the low line, there may be no line.
It really gets to be the only line, and the reason being is this track is so abrasive it just chews up the tires. So that rubber just rolls right up into the high groove, and there's really not one unless you get 4 or 5 cars up there trying to clean it out. So a lap car can really hold up the lead pack if they want to forever because it's so hard to pass on the outside, almost impossible.
Well, we'll keep an eye on that bit of information that Stephen Christian has now laid upon us. Unless you can set your car up to run in the marbles, you're not going to pass around the outside late in the race, Gene.
And just as Stephen was talking about that, Derek Kelly went to the bottom side and motored right on by Stephen Christian's Lucas Oil Ford. And in all fairness, he's running in the top 10. Again, this car only had 3 laps of practice earlier today.
Side-by-side racing, Del Murphy in the Jackaroo Meat Sauce's number 22, and Jay Fogelman up there on the high line. So there has not been a lot of rubber strewn up there high on the racetrack just yet. Also, John Curley in the number 44 Catawba Valley Community College entry is stalking the 2 of them, trying to figure out which one's going to get it done. Meanwhile, Bobby Gill, the race leader, staying down low, following every car that he needs to in order to maintain that low line. Brief foray up high just to make a pass. And then, oh, he drifted up a little bit there.
Trying to get by Chris Gordon's number 86 down on the bottom side.
There's the dudes and the guys on the 5 crew. Bobby Gill's crew guys getting ready.
Crew chief is not only the decision maker, he's also the cheerleader. He's trying to get everyone geared up and ready to go for these pit stops. It's going to be critical. And Curley very slow on the bottom side.
Yep.
It looks like maybe a little smoke out of that car. He's going to have to head to pit road. Curley's carrying the crest, and we can see some steam up on the windshield as he heads to pit road. He's carrying the crest, the Forever Champions crest for the Hooters Pro Cup Series, and that's all part of a joint effort. They're working with the Clemson University and the Brooks Institute over there, but more importantly, this week is the anniversary of the loss of our Forever Champions, Alan Kowicki, Dan Duncan, Charlie Campbell, and Mark Brooks.
We saw Dews getting his guys ready, but it looks like the Catawba Valley Community College crew is going to go to work a little earlier. Meanwhile, Bobby Gill continuing without problems other than the occasional traffic. Oh, little bumper cars going on there between John Kinder and the 08.
Brian, we're going to see more of this. A lot of the drivers, we've had this long green flag run, only 1 caution flag to this juncture, and almost 100 laps in. These drivers are having to slow down so much in the corners, we're going to see a lot of bumper jamming.
And it looked like a little overheating problem as pouring water around on the radiator. Drill Sergeant Deluzhnevsky and the guys still getting ready. Boy, and we might see green flag pit stops for the first time in a long time here in the Hooters Pro Cup.
It has been a long, long time.
Wow. 1 caution as we're approaching 100 laps of racing. And Bobby Gill, the leader, has stretched out a pretty good lead, has a couple of lap cars in between him and Shane Huffman right now, who continues to run in 2nd. Huffman 4th in points, and we mentioned last year you had to go back to page 2 practically to find him in the points table in 2000. There's Hal Goodson. We're still wondering what's going to happen with Hal Goodson and a whole season of Hooters Pro Cup as he goes inside on Shane Sieg in the S&W Motorsports Ford.
They've got Kevin Sasser directly ahead. Sasser trying to hang on and get to a pit situation to get some adjustments on his machine as well.
Well, they certainly are getting ready down on pit road for what might be green flag pit stops. While Bobby Gill has found some empty racetrack and he can manage his tires a little bit, try to nurse them along for a few more laps. And Jay Fogelman's flip-flop lefts change right strategy might not have to be used. I mean, they're getting an awful lot out of one set here. 100 laps coming at us. And they've only had 4 tires on the ground so far.
That line that Bobby Gill was using is the ideal line. He's not binding those tires up at all. He's trying to keep the car as free as possible all the way on the bottom, exits the corner, brings the car all the way to the outside wall down the straightaway and sweeps back into the corner.
Mark Nesbitt in the Blue Cross Blue Shield of Florida, entry number 30. also with some empty racetrack, and it looks like everybody's kind of made some room around themselves, and I think that's because they're all driving on greasy tires down there right now.
It's tiptoe your way around and hope you're not the reason for the caution, but they want a caution awful badly right now.
Stacy Puryear in the number 92 Black's Tire entry out of South Boston, Virginia. He's moved up north a little bit since he made his home down south. Calvin Redwine, the first guy to go down pit road under green. So his guys go to work while everybody else is still racing.
Calvin Redwine, we call him Mr. Sippy. He's from Manatee, Mississippi. His first race for the 2001 season. Just before we saw that pit stop, Brian, we had a good shot of Stacy Puryear, and you can see Stacy, he's really sawing on the wheel. These cars are getting very tough to hang on to.
Our Goodyear full field rundown at lap 100 shows that Stephen Christian is in 6th spot. Curtis Davis still 7th. Kevin Sasser's number 38, the Sasser Motorsports entry. We saw him just a moment ago. Al Goodson kind of easing backwards through the field. And you can see that the rookie drivers, Chris Gordon and R.D. Smith, down there rounding out the top 20. A couple more rookies, Chad Mullis and Shane Sieg, and then rookie Del Murphy in the Jackaroo Sauces car. And then we begin to see our attrition there now, beginning with Jeremy Pate, who was our most recent retiree from this race.
John Curley, fresh tires on that car. You saw him just blow by our leader, Bobby Gill, to get his lap back, or one of his laps back.
Like getting a lap back under green and not on a restart, that means definitely his tires are better. Don Satterfield in the number 1 car there, the Hawk Saw Blades entry. He was one of the first to go to one of those Carolina Kit Car bodies last season. Bobby Gill still nursing around the racetrack. He is the leader, but you mentioned fresh tires went by him like he was tied to a fence.
Indeed, indeed. Go back to that Carolina Kit Car. This is just remarkable. We've got to the 100 lap mark, have not seen a caution for any type of crash, and we don't have any nominees for Carolina Crunch Award yet.
No, not yet. A glimpse of Tom Pistone's number 19 car as Shane Huffman goes by him in the Johnsonville Brought number 84 that started from the pole, and now we got trouble. Big trouble indeed as Brian Vickers takes the Stewart number 42 car around there. Stewart components on his car for this year. And he's down in the grass trying to get it going again in his own smoke. Hopefully everybody will see him, and they do. Brian Vickers brings out a timely caution for everybody else. Let's see how it happened. Round he goes, might have had some help. Lots of cars in the neighborhood, and he kept it off the fence. We may get to the reason why Brian Vickers brought out a caution in a moment, but there are a lot of sighs of relief being breathed by the crews right now. They didn't want to stop under green under any circumstances whatsoever. So they get a timely caution. Our leaders are coming down pit road. Bobby Gill is going to get to his pit stall first. Shane Huffman will go around him. And the crews are getting set to go to work. Here's a busy David Sadowski.
We saw Dews getting the crew pumped up, but one of the last things he did before this stop was crank up the pressure on the nitrogen bottles and trying to beat Shane Huffman out of the pits. He's just ahead of the Bobby Gill car. They go for right side tires here. You can see the battle scars of Bobby Gill trying to work his way through the traffic. The left front tire is going to remain on the Gill car. Huffman going for right side tires, and he will beat Bobby Gill out of the pits.
So Shane Huffman comes out, and Stacy Puryear with some last-minute attention. Both of them beat Bobby Gill out of the pits. Things are going to look a little different when we come back.
Stay tuned for more USAR Pro Cup racing.
Right here in Pensacola, Florida.
Keep us turned on.
Second round of pit stops here in the Lucas Oil 250 as the cars not on the lead lap have a chance to come down pit road. It starts with Mario Goslin, who started second. He's a lap down. It's amazing. Let's go back downstairs to David Sadowski.
Brian, you thought the pressure was on the lead cars. These guys have really got to make some time up in the pit. Mario Goslin obviously going for right side tires. This track is just destroying everything, but a lot of wrenches are going on to the left rear to take some spring out, trying to transfer weight to that inside tire. Tires that are coming off the right side, Brian, look worse than that piece of cheese I was working with at the open of this show. These things are coming off the car down to the cord. And it is bumper to bumper in here. A lot of cars are going to be able to get their stops done before the others, but they got to roll them back to get out. It's too tight in here.
Jeremy Bowser goes back out on pit road. It's amazing. 6 out of the top 10 starters are in the second round of pit stops here, including Hal Goodson, who started 5th. Goslin started second, Vickers third, of course, had a spin. It's amazing how many cars have gone a lap down here with this long green flag run.
Now Murphy's going to beat Goodson out of the pits here. Goodson's one of the most feared drivers on the racetrack here by Bobby Gill. Bobby Gill kind of measures up to Goodson, but these guys are going for all 4 tires on that to try to catch up to the 5 car. Vickers in now. Here it is, taking a little bit of spring tension. He's going counterclockwise, trying to get some weight on the left rear of that car. The right side tire that came off the 42 was completely toasted, Brian.
And Stacy Puryear, who would have been the first guy out on the first round of pit stops, they left a wrench in. That was the reason he stopped there, and that was the reason that Shane Huffman, in fact, went out ahead of him from pit road. So a very exciting couple of rounds of pit stops here. The crews will take a breather, but the Hooters girls are still on duty. They'll break their huddle and continue handing out souvenirs and goodwill here at the Hooters Pro Cup. Let's take a look at the upcoming schedule here. The Southern Series drivers resume their deliberations at Ace Speedway, and the Northern Series guys punch in and go to work at Jennerstown on April 21st, and a couple of weeks later at Thompson, Connecticut. USARProCup.com. Bookmark that as one of your favorite places. You can get lots more information than what you see here on Speed Vision or when you go to the racetrack. Gene Crane, we get ready to go back to green flag, and this should be different.
It's going to be very different. All the crews have had a chance to make those adjustments. These drivers are getting very tired. We've got fresh tires on the race car. We're going to see quick lap times. And Mario Goslin, one of those cars that went down a lap in that long green flag run, he's been able to work to the inside to get his lap back. And Stacy Puryear, great run for Puryear. He really should have been the leader when they came back to green. Had the mix-up on pit road, left the wrench, the adjuster wrench in the left side of the race car. Had to stop for a minute. That allowed Shane Huffman to get out first.
Puryear must feel like Goslin's the fast guy. He follows him through and takes the lead. So Shane Huffman now moved back to second. Bobby Gill passed him earlier, and now it's Stacy Puryear who goes to the front. And Puryear's got what looks like a very fast race car, at least on this short run.
One of the keys that these drivers are going to have to keep in mind, they've got good tires, but they're going to have to manage these tires.
So Bobby Gill also in the mix along with Stephen Christian, quickly back downstairs to ski.
Ricky, what'd you do at the first stop? First stop, we just took 2 tires, loosened the car up a little bit when it turned, and hope we can go on.
If this thing stays green to the finish, have you got enough fuel?
Yeah, we got 2 full cans in. Should be good to go to the end.
Well, I would have to say fuel would be less of a concern than tires, at least so far, but they did get a full 100 laps plus out of a single set, and as you mentioned, 2 extra tires in the pits. If they get a lot of cautions, at least they got lots of tire to work with.
Well, the caution flags are going to do several things. Not only conserve fuel, but also save the tires. You're not going to grind the tires near as badly under a caution lap as you will at full steam. But the drivers, again, they're going to have to keep in mind, although they've got a lot of grip right now, if they abuse those tires right now and really use up a lot of tire, they're going to have nothing if this thing goes for another extended green run.
Mario Goslin got his lap back, but the other 5 cars that started in the top 10 have not yet. So Puryear is out there. He started 8th. He is your race leader. Shane Huffman, the pole sitter, is running 2nd, and Bobby Gill is going to have something to say about that. Those guys all started in the top 10, but so did a lot of cars that came down pit road. Hal Goodson, as we mentioned, started in 5th. He's a lap down. The 8 car of Jay Fogelman is right there. He started 12th. Stephen Christian's running in the top 10. He started 11th, so it is really shuffled. That long green run really shuffled the order.
Let's don't forget about the 00 of Curtis Davis. He's basically unsponsored on this car. TwisterCarts.com, that's a family organization there in Whitesburg, South Carolina for that team. He's also right there in the front runners. He's on the lead lap and doing an outstanding job.
Started in 17th position, made a nice, quiet, unspectacular run up through the field. Curtis Davis, one of those very talented young drivers that came out of the class of 2000 as a rookie. And he's running his sophomore season in fine shape here so far this year. We'll get a look at him at some point during the race. Right now, though, we're going to watch Stephen Christian and Stacy Puryear. Puryear, who took the lead, is now trickled backwards into 3rd position, and Christian's the guy coming forward with the fast car. Bobby Gill has resumed the point. So after a short run on fresh tires, things are starting to settle down now to who has the good handling car for the long runs.
Bobby Gill continuing to work on Mario Goslin. Goslin wants to stay in the lead lap. He's hoping for a caution, but Going to have a tough time keeping Bobby behind him. Bobby continues to look to the inside, and that's the way he creeped right up through the field after those pit stops and got up front.
Our field summary with 5 laps to go to the halfway mark has Bobby Gill, the leader, with Steve Christian in second spot. John Kinder is 6th, Jay Fogelman 7th. There's Curtis Davis running in 8th position right now in the 00 car. And you're watching a half dozen race cars. Jeremy Bowser, who started 7th position, one of those guys that went down a lap. And the 38 car just in front of him, Kevin Sasser, Sasser Motorsports. Problems for Jade Jones and the McGee and Jones Motorsports 09. Slowly down the inside of the racetrack. Here's Bobby Gill working on Mario Gosselin. Normally this would be a race for the lead. Right now it's Gosselin trying to stay on the lead lap. There's Jones' car still circling slowly down on the bottom. Mario Gosselin started outside, front row, lost a lap on that long run.
Those 3 leaders that you see, those 3 leaders also finished in the top 10 back in the old Hooters Cup late model division back in 1995. The Hooters Cup late models ran here at 5 Flags, and those 3 drivers were in the top 10 at the conclusion. No surprise, they're up front right now.
Looks like it might be an early night for Jade Jones as he takes the 09 car down into the infield. We're a half lap from halfway, and it looks like Bobby Gill is going to collect a halfway leader prize. Doesn't matter what Mario Gosselin does. Stephen Christian is right behind him, started in 11th position, and he's pushing and shoving. Right now, as they come past the start-finish line, Bobby Gill will collect the Lucas Oil halfway leader prize. 4 lead changes. This one counted for $1,000 as the halfway leader, Bobby Gill. Now he makes the pass on Mario Gosselin. Gosselin's right front brake rotor glowing red there under the effort here at 5 Flags. Christian follows Gill through into second position, and they stay 1-2.
Those 2 front runners, both Ford automobiles, they're able to stick those cars right on the bottom of the racetrack. Shane Humpman and Stacy Purrier, remember they only got 2 tires on that pit exchange. Those cars starting to slide a little bit, and here comes Derek Kelly in that Chevrolet on the bottom side.
The Discount Auto Parts number 21 looking awful good here after the halfway mark. Bobby Gill with the 3 tire change, though, is the guy that seems to have come out ahead on this one. Our naturally fresh leaderboard top 5. The USAR Hooters Pro Cup Series is brought to you by Hooters Restaurants, delightfully tacky yet unrefined. By Naturally Fresh Dressings, it's not just our name, it's our promise. Welcome back to 5 Flags Speedway for the Lucas Oil 250 presented by Food World. Brian Drever, Gene Crane, and David Sadowski with you. And in case you missed the first part, we're going to bring you up to speed with our Lucas Oil Products halfway recap. Shane Huffman, for the first time in his career, started the first ever Hooters Pro Cup race at 5 Flags from the pole, but on lap number 46, it was Bobby Gill who made the pass for the lead on Shane Huffman, and he held on for quite a while. Around the pit stops happened. Coming out in the lead, it was Huffman, but Stacy Purrier passed him and led for a while. 8 laps later, though, Bobby Gill returned to the point, and that's where he is right now. That was our Lucas Oil Products halfway recap. Let's take a look at the Goodyear full field rundown on lap number 150. 100 laps to go. It's Gill, then Christian, then Derek Kelly making a good run. Kinder, Fogelman, and Curtis Davis at the top of the next 5. And then you can see rookie Kevin Sasser and Daniel Johnson driving the 56. Now that's a Southern Series driver in a car owned by a Northern Series driver. You know, these guys are mixing it up pretty good. Tom Pistone in the number 19 car running in 22nd with fellow rookie Del Murphy in the Jackaroo Sauces car. And Joe Harrison Jr. has joined the list of mechanical retirees in the race in the number 57 Harrison's Automotive Chevrolet.
Bobby Gill mired behind some traffic right there. He's got Steve Christian hard on the rear bumper. They're trying to work their way around Daniel Johnson.
Whoa! And speaking of Tom Pistone, he's going to bring out a yellow flag here with a real quick spin. Almost didn't see that, but certainly the USAR officials did. So a yellow flag flies as Tiger Tom's grandson gets the number 19 car moving again. The Bully Hill Vineyards Ford apparently undamaged. Stacy Purrier takes the opportunity to head down pit road in the RBR Enterprises number 92 that led for a while. I don't know, maybe these guys are going to go, no, they're going to the same side of the car they did before. Here's David Sadowski on pit road, ski.
92, Stacy Purrier in for right side tire service. No wrenches going in to tighten or loosen the car, so it's just a matter of tire wear for the Purrier crew. A little bit of trouble here on the right rear, but under caution, Purrier in and out. Pretty clean stop.
Gene, I'm going to have to guess they just didn't like the 2 tires they put on the right side last time. And the cars are circling the racetrack right now. Under caution, only 1 significant pit stop.
Brian Vickers in the 42 coming in for a left side rear. And that is a scuff. I believe that is the left front tire making it to the left rear. Vickers down and out, but he's got to back up. The Gosselin car way out to the right on pit road. But Gosselin's going to pull out ahead of him. It's kind of a race out. The Gosselin crew ecstatic that they made it out ahead of Brian Vickers.
So some pretty interesting stuff going on. We'll have some time to talk about it when we come back. Right now, we're going to pause for a very important commercial message here from Pensacola. Well, the Hooters girls are still working pretty hard here, and we're always glad that they are part of the scene. Let's go back downstairs. David Sadowski.
Well, you heard from many of the drivers at the beginning of tonight's 250. They said they were trying to get the most out of the tires. Check this out. Coming off of the Vickers car, lap 100. That's the right rear. You want to talk about some extreme heat. He's down to the cord on that thing. I think he got his money's worth out of that one, Gene.
There is absolutely no denying that's the reason why Brian Vickers went around.
You know, you want to use them up like that. Maybe stop just a little short. I'm thinking, you know, if Vickers hadn't brought out that caution, he'd have had to get a few more laps out of that tire. And I think you're right. That's why the car went around. We go back to the green flag here as we look at our USAR field summary. Curtis Davis up to 6th. That's his best run of the night so far. And we're on board with Stephen Christian running in 2nd place. Behind the leader, Bobby Gill, in the lap car of Hal Goodson.
Goodson trying to get that lap back. He's mixing it up with the leader somewhat right now, but the car has not been to his liking all race long. It's been sliding around the racetrack. We'll see if they've made the right adjustments. They've been able to break away from Christian as they work off of turn 4, but Bobby Gill's stout. Bobby Gill is not working that car or overworking that car. He's keeping it very smooth right on the bottom of the racetrack.
Well, Gill and Goodson both squirted off the corner ahead of Christian. They're in pretty good shape. I want to talk a little bit more about this pit stop tire strategy. Again, Gill took on 3 tires. We just saw Purrier go back in and do it over, get a do-over on the right side. Apparently, we're not sure what was going on there. Maybe the stagger was a little off or something, and they didn't make any chassis adjustments. Whoa, Bobby Gill and now Hal Goodson. Come on back, Hal.
Goodson got down to the bottom side. I guess he just cooked it in there a little bit too much. That car just went straight up the racetrack, had to gather it up, and that let Bobby Gill get away. Let's go back to the tires, as you were saying there, Brian. They came down pit road. Those guys that came down pit road had a problem, and they knew if they didn't come to pit road, they're either going to lose more laps or possibly wear one of these Goodyear Eagles out and go bounding off the outside wall. They had to come down pit road. Bobby Gill, 3 tires. I've got a feeling that he's going to keep that left front on that left front corner and not take it off and change it at all. He's saving those tires for a late pit stop. Remember, we've only got, well, 7, 8 cars in the lead lap. Track position isn't going to be nearly as tough to deal with later in the race.
Well, we saw Stacy Purrier just take good advantage of what you said. He had nothing to lose by coming down pit road under caution. He likes the tires he has on the right side a lot better, obviously, because he just made a pass on Stephen Christian. That was no problem.
Well, remember, they're also fresher tires, so he's getting a better grip. This is still part of the strategy and the management that has to take place.
Problems for the 23 car, Toby Robertson's TWR Motorsports. Got up into the wall there while we were talking about it, and now he's trailing fluid that's on fire.
The fuel pump's on the right front of these Chevrolet motors, and more than likely he's knocked the fuel pump loose and possibly the fittings. That may be just a little bit of residual fuel and quite a bit of fire in the front of the number 23, the TWR Chevrolet.
Well, Toby's out of the car and walking around just fine. Took a little bit of a shot as the safety crew goes to work. Here's another look at the aftermath. And that looks like a Hollywood movie scene right there. So the crew continues to work on the car to make sure things are safe. David Sadowski is caught up with the driver. Ski.
Toby Robertson, you all right?
Oh, I'm fine. Right front tire blew going off in the corner. I don't know what we did to the race car. The first set of tires lasted 10 laps and started chunking out, and we started backpedaling. We put a new set of tires on. They ran good. It wasn't the racetrack. It's something we've done because, you know, Goodyear makes a good tire. I mean, it's nothing that's wrong with the tire. It's just something that we've done. We got to figure it out. But unfortunately, it looks like Steve Levis will be working quite hard this week, and really appreciate my crew. They work hard. One of my guys got run over by Mike Laughlin Jr. earlier in pits. These pits are tight. There's no pit wall. You got to watch what you're doing. He's my best guy. Now he's got to have stitches in his legs. Just kind of a bad night all around for us, but we'll be back and look forward to it. I love racing, and I got a good working group of guys, so we'll be back.
Good to see you in one piece, Toby.
Thank you very much.
Well, Gene, they've brought out a red flag because the cleanup on the track is going to take just a little while. So they parked everybody while they continue their job. Let's go back downstairs, Skeet.
Haskell, under red flag conditions, we can finally talk to each other where you can hear what I'm saying. How is the car, and what's your driver having to say about it?
Due to the racetrack conditions, the car is good. We're just having to try to figure out some tire and some pit strategy to be good at the end. Bobby's going to be tough to beat, but if we can figure out our tire strategy and work on our pit strategy a little bit, we got a good chance of this thing.
A lot of tires coming in down to the cord. Have you had any of those?
No, we haven't had that, but let me tell you, that's a grinding wheel out there, and it's working on them fast.
Well, here's a look at Toby Robertson's car. Things are heating up at Five Flags. We'll be right back. United Speed Alliance Racing in the Hooters Pro Cup Series, round 3, the Lucas Oil 250, presented by Food World here at Five Flags Speedway. Go downstairs, David Sadowski in the dues.
What's he having to say to you during the red flag?
He didn't say a thing.
He's just chilling out?
He's just chilling, hoping we got enough to get to the end. It's, like everybody said, it's a tire management deal. We got a couple cars with maybe one more tire left in the pits than we do. Whether there'll be a factor or not, I don't know. I'm hoping not.
I'm watching the tires that you're pulling off. None of them are down to the cord.
No, nothing like that. People around us are, so the setup's been good enough that we haven't gotten that bad. And we've been able to lead some, like I say, hopefully here, hang on for the last 80 or so laps.
Hey, I see you running around. Were you telling the guys to stay low, some of the slower cars?
Well, time and time again, it's the same cars that a total lack of courtesy. You got cars 5-6 laps off the pace getting in the way. You got others that they're going a lap down anyways, and then all of a sudden they're going to race you. So yeah, I go down and let the crew know that we will take action.
It's the Ski Doos show as they move Shane Huffman's number 84 car off the racetrack. What's going on there? Well, Huffman's car clearly with a problem. That's going to give us time for this week's Tech Tip. And Fritz St. Augustine, whose job is to catch the sinners.
Over the years, not necessarily in this series, but in stock car racing in general, we've picked up a few things here and there. Weight is primarily the enemy of every race car, so we try every way we can to get them as light as possible. Here's a 28-pound piece that the genius left under his seat. But these particular goggles weigh 18 pounds. It don't make us unhappy until we get to some fool does something like this right here. When I picked this up, this fire extinguisher looked right. The gauge said it was full and all, but it's full of lead. That fire extinguisher weighs 33 pounds. Then we got these ball bearings. That wasn't for weight. He had a hole in the side of the frame, and he could reach and pull this plug out of the frame. Didn't hurt him hardly at all, but it put some excitement in the life of the guy that was trying to follow him. We used to seal a lot of motors. We had numbers on the seals, and we had our little code on here and everything. This is the carburetor bolt, and it had hot glue on the bolt. So the gentleman, all he had to do was, after he got through tech, was to pull this out, unscrew this out of the manifold, put the carburetor of his choice on, put these back on again, and instead of having a legal carburetor, he had one that was different. Everybody carries one of these, so you don't think too much about it when you see somebody with a car lock and unlock device in their pocket. Well, a crew chief can take one of these and the solenoid that locks and unlocks his car, put it in place of this switch, and he can now turn on and off the traction control from in the pits while the driver's on the track.
This week's tech tip, and more than a little gleam in the eye of Fritz Augustine when he comes up with somebody engineering a rules disadvantage for the opposition. We've got action down on pit road. Mike Laughlin Jr. is headed that way along with Jeremy Bowser. Here's Ski.
Guys, Shane Huffman down here on jack stands right now with the left rear tire off. The crew going to work in the electrical compartment. The car come in with no running engine, no fire, no spark. A mystery to the crew and a mystery to us at this time, but guys, we'll update you here in a moment. Back to you.
Gene, any guesses? They're heading for the battery area.
That's the battery box right there, Brian, and indeed, the car must not have been able to refire. That's why we saw the car being pushed back to the pit area when we restarted the field after that red flag. So that's gonna be a real tough break for Shane Huffman.
Well, you got to look at the guys in the top 5 there. And here's a look at, well, we're going to call this the boneyard. These are the guys that either didn't make the start, for instance, in the case of Scott York, or those who have retired since the race began. We're going back to the green flag once again, and it's Hal Goodson down on the inside, gets his lap back, and Bobby Gill is your race leader. As we look at our USAR leaderboard, you can see 171 laps are gone. Jay Fogelman running in 6th spot with John Kinder. Goodson is 8th, so there are only 7 cars on the lead lap, and that's what a long green flag run does to you.
Hal Goodson able to take advantage of that restart. We'll see how long that setup is able to keep him out front. And John Curley off the pace again.
Curley with problems in the 44 car and smoke coming from we're not sure where, but that's never good when you're trailing smoke. Now the Blue Angels guys, of course, turn on the vapor trails there, but they don't do that on race cars.
Brian, the smoke was coming out of the exhaust header on the left-hand side. He's either broken a ring, maybe a head gasket, or worse yet, broken a head.
Well, it's not exactly a full moon, but there is a little bit of black magic working here tonight. Green flag racing continues here at Pensacola for the Lucas Oil 250 as they're blazing their way towards the checkered flag. Still a long way to go. As you can see, we're looking at our field summary on lap number 178. Curtis Davis up into the top 5. Fogelman, Kinder, then Goodson first car, not on the lead lap, although he has gotten his lap back. Technically, he is in front of leader Bobby Gill. Bobby Gill is the guy running point right now, top of the leaderboard, and you can see a lot of tight racing. We had David Sadowski chase the story a little bit more on the injured crewman, Toby Robertson. David Barry apparently was clipped by one of the cars and sustained a cut. Had stitches, is expected to return to the racetrack next time. On board with Stephen Christian, a Lucas Oil Products car. Boy, he'd sure like to get a win here in his sponsor's entitled race. Right now he's got some ground to make up, and Jeremy Bowser skates around the outside on Stephen Christian.
Looks like Stephen is trying to conserve those tires right now. We've still got a good 75, 80 laps to go to the checker, so right now is not the time to really use those tires up. Get some laps up on the board, get closer to the checkered flag, and have something for a run at the end.
Looking at the group that contains your leader, Bobby Gill, in the number 5 car, and I love it. Gill is listed his car as Gill Racing / sponsor needed. Call it space available on the number 5, as he is self-sponsored so far this season. We're used to seeing PGT Industries on that car, but not in 2001. And a look at the 7 of Mike Laughlin Jr. And we have been talking a little bit about how Mike Laughlin Jr., we're used to seeing very aggressive racing out of him, and this year, so far anyway, he seems to just be calmly, very professionally approaching this as a points deal. He's going for a championship.
We touched on that in the last broadcast, Brian, from St. Augustine. I spent some time talking to Scott Sutherland, his crew chief, and they've really got a focus on the goal for the whole year, and that is to finish as high in the point standings as they can if they don't win the championship. They're going after the championship. Scott Sutherland's job is to set the car up to run smooth all night long and keep his driver, Mike Laughlin Jr., calm down to where the car will be strong all night long and at least salvage the best finish possible if they can't win.
Well, it should be a good combination. Scott Sutherland helping Steve Christian to a runner-up finish last year in the championship. We know that Mike Laughlin Jr. brings a lot of talent and a lot of good equipment to the track, so that should be a winning combination, and we're going to keep a very close eye on those guys this season. Watching some good tight racing here, and Derek Kelly, of course, we mentioned up into second position. Stacy Puryear is a contender right now too. But earlier we talked to Mario Gosselin, who we always expect to be in this thing, about what it's going to take.
Well, the last guy that gets tires is probably going to win this thing. So if you can hang on through the middle of the race and be fast enough to not get a lap down, because of course some people are going to come in and get tires and they're going to be pretty quick. And if you can stay in front of those guys and not get a lap down, then you're going to be in good shape at the end and come in and get 4 tires and go.
Well, we're hearing from Mario Gosselin. That long green flag run didn't really work for him early in the race, but we'll see if he's got something for him here at the end.
Mario brings up a good point. One of the hardest things to do is to keep focus on what your game plan is. Somebody comes down pit road, gets some fresh tires, and they go blowing by you. It's very tempting to want to go ahead and mash the gas a little harder and try to run with those folks. Sometimes you've got to keep focus on the end goal, that's racing the track until the final closing laps.
Well, and mashing on the gas, that's where that egg that David Sadowski had. You try to imagine an egg between your foot and the throttle pedal. That's how you have to drive around this track to manage your tires. And if you're tempted to stand on it just a little too hard, bad things can happen. We're watching Mark Nesbitt there behind Bobby Gill. Nesbitt doing a good job in that Blue Cross Blue Shield of Florida car.
They had to change the transmission in that car late in the practice session. Had some problems, had a leaking transmission in the primary setup they came off the trailer with. Pulled the backup car down, pulled that transmission out, and they're running with that machine right now. And with a battle for the lead, Derek Kelly, he's swinging to the inside of Bobby Gill, and he's going to get the lead.
He's got the lead right now. Whether he'll be scored in the lead at the stripe or not, we're not sure just yet, but he's going to, oh yeah, he's going to take it. Stacy Puryear goes by as well. So Bobby Gill loses a couple of spots now in the later part of the racetrack, and we're going to have to scratch our heads and figure out what's going on there. And talk about changing parts. Jabe Jones's guys are changing the rear end, trying to get him back in the race.
Jabe
Jones.
It is.
Derek Kelly, Stacy Puryear now ahead of Bobby Gill. Sorry, Gene, go.
That's fine. I was going to say Jabe Jones. He's a second-generation driver with this particular McGee and Jones team, but he's also a second-generation driver here at Five Flags. His father, Jabez, raced here on 5 different occasions in the early years of that Snowball Derby.
Mark Nesbitt now, and your leader, Derek Kelly, with Jeremy Bowser right behind him. Shane Huffman has returned to action here. They've gotten the electrical problem fixed, but not after losing a bunch of laps. And Derek Kelly, who started 14th, has worked his way up to the front.
It's been a quiet ride for several of those drivers. Derek Kelly, Curtis Davis, John Kinder, some of those guys showing in the top 7 in the lead lap. Didn't see them coming through the field. Right now, Curtis Davis, who was a rookie contender last year, he's working on our defending champion, Bobby Gill.
And the way Curtis Davis, twistercarts.com 00 is looking, Gill might lose another spot to him here in a moment.
Remember, Bobby Gill still has tires in the pits. They're waiting for a caution flag late in the race to come down pit road.
The way that car's wiggling, he needs them. Gene, but I'm going to make a comment here that you might agree with, and that is that he can have all the tires in the pits he wants.
Exactly.
If they don't stop and put them on the car, you're not going to do him any good.
They can roll them out on the racetrack, but that won't do any good either.
Shove them out in front of your opponents or something. That'd be about all, and I'm sure the USAR officials and Fritz Augustine would have a problem with that. Well, ask and ye shall receive. Curtis Davis on the inside and by Bobby Gill right now. So now Davis is 3rd, Gill is 4th. Curtis Davis looking good here. Another guy who's made a pretty significant change in terms of results from the 2000 season. He was fast last year, had some good qualifying efforts, and certainly the willingness to be competitive. But so far in 2001, we've seen him deliver the goods.
Came out of the box at USA International Speedway in the season opener and wound up going up front, ran in the top 5, dropped back a bit at the finish, but had a strong race car. And at the conclusion of last year, also at USA down at Lakeland, Florida, he led the race until a gamble on fuel wound up leaving them short.
Looking through the rest of our Goodyear full field rundown, Shane Huffman, the pole sitter, in 16th position, returned to the track several laps down after changing the battery. That turned out to be the problem. Del Murphy in 21st position, driving the number 22 Jackaroo Meat Sauce's car. Jabe Jones, we mentioned, is in 26th place. And those guys have changed out the rear end and have Jay back out on the racetrack. So he is not one of those mechanical DNFs that we're seeing listed at the bottom of the rundown. There's Mike Laughlin Jr. with his crew chief Scott Sutherland down on pit road. And that great equipment that they bring to the racetrack. Mike Laughlin Jr. having a nice steady run through the first 2 races and most of the third one so far. Derek Kelly, your leader in the Discount Auto Parts, number 21 out of Auburndale, Florida. It's looking good out there right now with Mark Nesbitt in tow. Remember, he's a lap down. There's Stacy Puryear, your second place car. Puryear looked like he had the car to beat there for a while in the middle part of this race.
The car still looks strong right now, Brian. That car is able to run all the way down on the bottom of the track. And when we saw the car come off of turn 4 the last time, it was a nice smooth line off of the corner. He wasn't kicking the car sideways. He wasn't having to saw on the wheel. He could bring it up very smoothly, just ease on the throttle and accelerate down the straightaway.
Well, we heard Dews tell Ski that apparently the setup on the number 5 car is pretty good because the tires were all worn out pretty evenly, at least the 3 they changed. They still have that left front on the car. And now we're looking at the 08 car there. Another pretty good looking effort here for John Kinder because he has really come up through the field. Started, let's see, where did he start? 22nd position. So Kinder, like Curtis Davis, having a nice run, a former rookie contender, having a good go at it here tonight. Hal Goodson lost a lap in the 45 Carlin Financial car. But Colin Engel and his crew have done a pretty good job of keeping him out there at least. And there's Shane Huffman.
Huffman is right there. Kevin Sasser is also there. Sasser's a guy that came out of the Legends Racing Series. Ran a lot of Legends Racing up in the North Carolina area. Came to Pro Cup Racing, a big change for him, moving from the lighter Legend car to the heavy 3,350-pound Pro Cup machine. But he's handling this Hooters Pro Cup Series very nicely here in the early going.
Mississippi Calvin Redwine going kind of slowly around the bottom of the track, giving everybody all the room they need to race around him. There's the 58 of Jeremy Bowser, the Perk Chassis entry out of Pinellas Park, Florida.
Remember 2 races ago, Brian? 58 car Bowser, he was up front and leading in the season opener down there at USA International Speedway. Sat out the St. Augustine race, had a pretty good run going early on, but lost a lap and is trying to battle his way back.
Has a good handling race car as he makes a little bit of a move down on the inside of the 38 of Kevin Sasser, rookie entry out of Gibsonville, North Carolina. Now we're watching Stephen Christian in the number 16 car. Again, a lot of changes in that team. Scott Sutherland now the crew chief, Mike Laughlin Jr., and Stephen Christian racing for Haskell the Rascal Willingham. And Mario Goslin running his own number 10 car for Carter Grandel. There it is, Christian, the Lucas Oil number 16 with Hal Goodson behind him. Derek Kelly, the leader, coming up behind them both. And all these long runs have really put cars on all kinds of different laps out here tonight.
Drastically changed the complexion of this event. Derek Kelly, we talked about Perk Chassis, sponsor on the Bowser car. That is one of the Perk Chassis underneath Derek Kelly here this evening. One of 2-3 entries from the Perk Chassis folks. Of course, Laughlin Chassis pretty much predominates in terms of the chassis used by most of these Hooters Pro Cup Series teams. Hess Chassis, also a very popular chassis, mixed in with a couple of other makes. Hutcherson-Pagan, Petrie has a chassis, and Hedgecock along with the Steve Levitt chassis manufacturing.
Well, we heard Toby Robertson say Steve Levitt was going to have some work to do. Oh, we had a puff of smoke, dust or something there, but not sure what that was. Just saw it briefly. There's Bobby Gill with one of those Billy Hess chassis, and the number 8 of Jay Fogelman, the Cooper family Ford out of Durham, North Carolina. Those 2 guys are running together. Don Satterfield in the Hawk Saw Blades number 1, swinging up to way up high on the racetrack there. And Hal Goodson goes around right in front of our eyes. Smoke all over the place. Satterfield checks up and almost nudges into him there. Had to find the car in the smoke. And Hal Goodson's going to bring out a caution in a very spectacular way.
Heavy traffic played into this caution.
Take another look at it. Right in the middle there.
Stacy Puryear actually has the lead, got into Goodson just a little bit, and around went Hal Goodson. Your leader Puryear, and at that time it was second place Derek Kelly. Everybody had to slam on the brakes to try to avoid.
So a little bit of contact into the lapped car of Hal Goodson by two guys battling for the lead. Puryear going for the #1 spot. Appeared to have made a little bit of contact. No serious damage though. Goodson continues, and so will we in just a moment. Here we go, and your leader Derek Kelly heading down pit road. Remember, Mario Gosselin said he who pits last laughs last, perhaps in victory lane here. So a lot of these guys are going in the closing stages to get tires. Stacy Puryear among them. Right side goes up on Derek Kelly's car, and the Discount Auto Parts crew goes to work. David Sadowski a little bit further down pit road with the Gill car. Ski.
Bobby Gill crew going for right side tires, 1 can of fuel. Up on the left side now, going for left rear. 3 fresh tires. Bobby Gill is going to be tough after this stop. He's got what he needs to make it to the finish. The crew giving the extra effort. These guys are something else. That's why they're the champs.
Boy, they sure were. And the left side of the 08 car there of John Kinder, Multimedia Graphics and Production Chevrolet. And look at the tire. Not only are they picking up all that rubber that left everybody else's tire, but a cigarette butt. I mean, they got it all going on out there. Our next TV date, the Jackaroo Sauces 250 from Ace Speedway at Thursday, April 19th at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Join us then. As we get set to go back to green, we've got a ways to go to settle this one. Gene Crane and Derek Kelly looks to be the guy to beat with Bobby Gill right behind him. Let's see if those 3 fresh tires are going to get the job done.
Mike Laughlin Jr., the lap car down on the bottom side, will stay downstairs. Bobby Gill still trying to find a way. Oh.
And another caution's going to come out. We're watching the leaders. Got a quick glance up there to see Kevin Sasser backing into the wall. Not hard, though, and very minimal damage. So we're going to get another quick caution, and anybody who thought about staying out last time might think again and will come down pit road. I'm still amazed that Bobby Gill is using that left front tire all the way to what he hopes will be the checker flag anyway. We'll be right back. USAR Hooters Pro Cup 2001 here at Five Flag Speedway. It's the Lucas Oil Products 250 presented by Food World. Let's go downstairs, pit road, and David Sadowski.
With Joe Burke, the crew chief on the #8, Jay Fogelman, our winner at St. Augustine. You got your last 2 bullets on the car that last stop. How you looking?
Well, we put 4 on. We saved all 4 of them shoes for the last deal. We're going to see what happens. Jay's doing a heck of a job. And I think we got something for him if we can just stay out of trouble and get up front.
Make any changes to the suspension that last stop?
None.
Just tires?
Just tires. See what happens.
Well, Joe's smiling. I guess he thinks he's got a little something for them down there. Well, those guys from up in Massachusetts pronounce St. Augustine different, don't they?
Just a little bit, but we'll work on his Florida history.
We'll get to it. No, not a problem at all. As we look at our USAR field summary here, Derek Kelly, Bobby Gill in second position. Now, Curtis Davis, I'm still impressed with the run on the 00 car. And of John Kinder in the 08 there. Japanese-American driver from California competing in the Southern Series of the Hooters Pro Cup. There's a combo for you.
And Bobby Gill working on Derek Kelly's rear bumper down the straightaway. Saw a little wiggle from Kelly's car as Bobby didn't quite clear Derek as he swung to the outside. But Bobby Gill's going to challenge for the lead. Derek Kelly downstairs. He's got the preferred line.
Well, up now, Bobby does a high-low move on him there. He went up high to collect a little extra rubber, and now he's going to scrub it off down low.
Bobby did this a little bit earlier in the race, and I really kind of discounted it as maybe he just got in a little bit too hot. But he's diamonding the corner. He's going high in the center of the corner, cutting it hard, and slipping across the flat of the inside of turn 4 to try to get a run and stay on the bottom side.
Well, and we've got another problem here over at the other end of the racetrack as we see Tom Pistone, Jeremy Bowser, and too bad for John Kinder. The 08 car had a great run going, as did Bowser. So the Multimedia Graphics 08, you ought to look at it here. Just coming into your view. Oh, there's the contact.
Bowser tried to get to the inside, just not enough room down there.
Both of them in perfect synchronization. Do a little almost 360. And Bobby Gill with another look at that fake right, go left pass here. Oh, that's sweet. So we're under caution once again at 5 flags. Pace car is out on the racetrack. And Bobby Gill is your leader. We'll be back to wrap it up for you in a moment. We're back at 5 flags and still under caution, but not for long here in the Lucas Oil 250. And the final laps, the money laps, are coming at you. Don't forget our next race is the Jackaroo Sauces 250 from Ace Speedway in Altamont. That should be fun. Friday night, April 13th. Friday the 13th. Ooh, I'm a little scared, Gene.
That's going to be a tough little racetrack anyway. Last year we went there and it was quite a race. Very active race. A lot of sheet metal will be tore up when we go to Ace Speedway, but it'll be a fun event nonetheless.
What a great start for Bobby Gill as the green flag waves. Put Derek Kelly way behind him with a lap car in between. As we look at our top 10 in the USAR rundown, Mario Gosselin has wiggled his way back into the top 10.
Derek still hasn't cleared the Shane Huffman car. As you said, he's a lap down. He needs to get clear and get the racetrack, at least the use of all the racetrack, to be able to catch Bobby Gill. That's the biggest advantage we've seen all day long.
Stephen Christian and Derek Kelly both get by Shane Huffman, but we're also talking about a car that's a lap down. It started from the pole, so we know it's a pretty good car.
Darn good race car. They had a problem with the battery, had to change the battery out to get the car restarted. Lost several laps. If it was not for that, he'd probably be right there in the lead lap battling for this win.
We've been pretty quiet about the 55 of Lee Tissett. That Cars Plus looking awful clean. Jay Fogelman and Curtis Davis going after it for 4th spot. Tissett around on the outside there in the same neighborhood. And Curtis Davis with that twistercarts.com Document Technology Chevrolet, the 00, looking very good here tonight. Tissett falls in line behind him. Fogelman gets a little bit of breathing room away from Davis now.
Jay's got a strong car. That car's really getting hooked up. Don't know if he's got enough laps left to run down Bobby Gill. He may need a caution to make that happen. He's got Derek Kelly to deal with.
There's a look at Brian Vickers, number 42, that had problems early in the race. Remember, he's a Northern Series driver, the Stewart Components Chevrolet. Last year's rookie champion. This year, the rookie battle takes on a little bit of a different complexion. There will be a rookie points leader throughout the regular season, as I'm wont to call it. But the Rookie of the Year, the Miller Lite Rookie of the Year, will not be determined until that 5-race playoff that we have at the end of the season. There's Kinder. Did not lose a lap in that little incident there with Bowser. While the 38 car's coming down pit road, and so is Don Satterfield's number 1 Hawk Saw Blades entry for jumping the start. Yep, jumping the start. So Kevin Sasser in the Sasser Motorsports car and Don are going to have to come down.
We've got a caution.
But under a caution, well, that'll give them a little bit of a break. At least it'll slow everybody down. And it looks like Don Satterfield's car stopped on the racetrack. That's why they waved the yellow.
Brian, we're inside 10 to go. That means a single file restart.
Bobby Gill is still your race leader, however, and we'll see if anybody has something for him when we come back. Don Satterfield may have had something in mind when he brought out that caution, but for sure Mario Gosselin, who said the last guy to get tires wins, is going to make sure it's him.
Mario Gosselin rolling in for his final pit stop. This is the strategy where they take the left front tire, I believe, and put it to the right rear. Mario Gosselin tightening up the car considerably on the right rear spring. Getting ready for the sprint to the finish. Now going back over. Going on for left side rubber. Mario's getting ready to put this pedal down. He's ready to break the 8, guys. He's going towards the front. Watch the 10.
Well, I don't know, Gene, that last guy to get tires wins the race strategy might have worked if he was on the lead lap, but and earlier, the Dews is going over there, and it's hard to tell from the look on his face whether he thought Satterfield's strategy of bringing out a caution was good or not. Well, we'll have to wait and see, won't we? In any case, Bobby Gill has the lead. Derek Kelly's in second, and we are just, oh man, 4 laps to go to the finish, and Bobby Gill with a great jump on the start.
Look at Steve Christian on the outside. Derek Kelly's going to have to contend with Christian, and Jay Fogelman is right there as well.
Oh, the race is for second and not for the lead as Bobby Gill just left these guys. for Dunn, and they're going to have to sort it out. Look how big of a lead Bobby Gill has. I mean, he timed that start perfectly. Derek Kelly hangs on to the number 2 spot. Fogelman moves into 3rd, and Christian has slipped back to 4th. On board with Steven Christian. 2 laps to go. Derek Kelly with a little wiggle. Fogelman looking for an opening, and Bobby Gill says, see you later.
Bobby's definitely checked out. Of trouble. One car around, Stacy Purrier around. He continues.
Yeah. Big problems out there, and Bobby Gill keeps on skating across the finish line with 1 lap to go. Here come the contenders for 2nd place. Fogelman trying to make a move on Derek Kelly. Meanwhile, Gill is already into the tail end traffic of this one on the last lap. Bobby Gill going around Don Satterfield, who brought out the late race caution, and Dews and the guys are going to celebrate win number 2 for the 2001 season. Well, that was an exciting last couple of laps.
Dews, you pulled it off. You pulled it off, brother. Thank you, man. What's he saying to you now?
Hell, he just thanked us, which that's pretty rare. But I actually, crew did a heck of a job. Changed the motor earlier today, and really like yeoman's time. And I got to say hi to Pee Wee, Dave Ivey back home on the injured reserve. I mean, we're leaving a tough team at the house, let alone what's coming here and kicking everybody's ass right now.
Oh, well, tell it like it is, Dews. All right, well, Bobby Gill is going to come home, and we'll talk to him in a moment. The USAR Hooters Pro Cup Series is brought to you by Hooters Restaurants, delightfully tacky yet unrefined. By Naturally Fresh Dressing, it's not just our name, it's our promise. By Jackaroo Sauces, Jackaroo tastes so great they named a steakhouse after us. By Miller Lite, the great taste of a true Pilsner beer. And by Lucas Oil Products, the official lubricant of USAR, and a worldwide leader in heavy-duty and high-performance lubricants. Well, there's a little bit of the damage on the side of John Kinder's 08 car, but Bobby Gill is climbing out of here as the winner for the 2nd time this season. Here's Ski.
Bobby Gill, a fantastic job of driving, but that was not easy for you, was it?
Nah, the tires kind of wore out there at the end, and that last caution helped us out there. And I tell you, I got to thank all my sponsors that helped me out. Carrera Shocks, X1R. There's so many back there, I can't say who they are. Hawk Brakes, Speedway Engineering. Duffels painting a car for us. And if anybody wants to come on board, we got the fenders and the hoods available for this thing.
Looks like there's plenty of room on that car. Tell me about the race, the halfway point, and then take it from there.
Well, the car was just good, and you know, we run half throttle around there all day long, and everybody else just kept falling off, and we got the lead there and put a bunch of good cars down the lap and got the halfway lead, so that's a big help.
Derek really run. You had a good run into 3. You pulled the old seesaw move on it, and he fell for it, didn't he?
Yeah, my car showed up good, and I know this place here, you get to run off that bottom there, you can really haul butt.
Great run.
Thank you.
Well, he's still got PGT on the suit. Maybe if he gets a sponsor, he'll change that too. But I know that those folks have been awful good to him over the years. Here's your official race results. Bobby Gill, Derek Kelly, Jay Fogelman, and Steve Christian. The race for 2nd was awful good there at the end. John Kinder brings it home with his best finish of the season in 6th position. And as you look down through the results, you're going to see a lot of guys. And Mario Gosselin, who used a strategy that took him from 10th to 12th. I would say that didn't quite work, Gene.
Brian Vickers slid back to the 18th spot after starting 3rd. Kevin Sasser brought his car home 19th. Don Satterfield salvaged a 24th finish. Calvin Redwine, his first entry for 2001, 25th. Local driver Jeremy Pate came home in 30th here this evening with his Chevrolet. Tough break for him. And Jason Starvis, the rookie leader, he wound up all the way down in 34th.
A lot of attrition here tonight. Runner-up went to Derek Kelly. He's with Ski.
You guys, super show for the fans. That was just awesome. Good racing all the way.
When you got Jay Fogelman and Bobby Gill racing at the end and Steve Christian, you know you're going to have a good show. We're just pleased that Discount Auto Parts car runs as good as it did tonight. You know, this is a tough racetrack, and we've been running good all year, having a hard time beating those Fords, and I guess tonight's just another one of those nights we didn't beat a Ford.
Tell me about the 10 car lengths that Gill was able to yard you at the restarts. What was going on there?
Well, we set our car up a little tight for long runs, and as you could tell earlier, we took the lead from Bob on long greens. So if this thing had went green, we'd have won the race, but it didn't.
You had a great run, though. You looked real smooth out there.
we had a good car all night, and, you know, it just kept the egg underneath my foot. And watched Bob here race a lot of times. Only raced here once before. I want to congratulate all these guys on a good run, and looks like Bobby Gill's still the one to beat.
Take a look at the top 10 in points. Of course, Bobby Gill's going to be at the top of the table.
Derek Kelly jumping up to 4th. Shane Huffman drops back to 5th after that electrical problem in the early going.
And a nice tight battle for second there between those two. Mario Gosselin in 6th position. Lee Tissett is there. Mike Laughlin Jr. doing a good job racing for points. Let's go back downstairs. Ski with Jay Fogelman.
Jay, to salvage third out of that one, that was a masterful job of driving.
Man, I tell you, the first time we've been here, we're really, really pleased. Just pit strategy, we had it work perfect, but we just ran out of laps at the end. If we could have went green on that last 25, we were the only car that had 4 fresh tires. You know, I told you about we were going to flop our lefts and all, and we nearly lost a lap, but we didn't. And then to come in and have 4 tires that late in the race, I was like, we have got them covered. But we just kept getting cautions, and it kept Bobby and those guys ahead of the lap cars, and just ran out of time. You know, Derek probably had the best car on the long run. We were the second best car on the long run, but we were going to beat him with 4 tires, and just didn't work out that way. Had a great race for the fans and all, and just glad to be here and keep clicking away getting points. Got defenders on this thing, going to go to ace.
Tell me about dicing it out with that rascal Derek Kelly.
Just the guys in this series, it's a good group of people. You know, Bobby, Derek, myself, and all raced together for years, and you know, we fly hot under the collar while we're in a race car, but we get out and all good friends, and it's just part of short track racing. I mean, the fans love it, and it's part of the deal. As long as you don't spin anybody out, it's just race.
Good points. On to the next one.
Yeah, man.
Jay Fogelman, winner last time, 3rd place here today. He and Derek Kelly did have a good time. Let's take a look at our W.J. Clemens Insurance hard charger of the race. John Kinder started 22nd to his best finish of 6th.
After a 2-day DNFs early in the season, he needed this finish.
And our Miller Lite rookie of the race, Daniel Johnson, started 19th and rounded out the top 10 in the number 56 car there. The Happy Hunting Ground Whitetail Research Center Chevrolet did a good job here for owner BJ Underdown. The Jackaroo Sauces 250 from Ace Speedway will come to you here on Speed Vision Thursday night, April 19th. Write that down, John Kinder. There are the Hooter girls. And our Carolina Kit Cars Crunch Award, got to give it to Toby Robertson and Steve Levitt.
No doubt, no doubt. Tough break for them, but they'll be back at Ace.
And when Hallbrook Production stays in Atlanta, they stay at the Fairfield Inn in Morrow, Georgia. Call them at 770-961-6044. Bobby Gill, the winner here tonight. Speedvision.com for all the schedule and all your motorsports fun and frolic. Visit them online when you can't be with us here on the air. Our thanks to Racing Electronics for all their help in communicating with the infield and the drivers out there. And a special thanks to Carolina Custom Golf Carts for helping our producer Eric Swearingen and the crew get around out there on the racetrack all day and evening long. For my partner Gene Crane and David Sadowski down on pit road, and to you for joining us, I'm Brian Drever. Thanks and so long, everybody.